Now broadcasting on your favorite podcast platform, it's the Maverick Do It Different podcast with your host, Paul Finck, the Maverick Millionaire. When you want to step up and dare to be different, when you will dare to be great and live up to your fullest potential, when you are ready to dare to be a maverick and live the life of your dreams, filled with abundance, passion, and joy, then it's time to listen to me, Paul Finck, the Maverick Millionaire, and the Maverick Do It Different podcast. And welcome to Maverick Do It Different podcast. This is where we do dare to do it different, to create a different life for you and for I and the whole universe on how to make it really powerful, really special, and really amazing every single day. And I'm your host, Paul Finck, the Maverick Millionaire, and today we've got one of our special authors in our newest volume, Be a Success Maverick, How Ordinary People Do It Different to Achieve Extraordinary Results. This book is also brought to you by, of course, the Maverick Millionaire Publishing House. Right here, we've got our special guest, Mia Oddo. She's a medical esthetician, owner of Mia's Spa in Delray Beach, Florida. And I got to tell you, she's earned a recognition as a top producer in direct marketing, as well as one of the top 100, listen to this, top 100 successful women in business network by the Global Trade Chamber. This all happened in 2020. Really just powerhouse, grabbing hold of everything. She's been featured in Atlantic Avenue magazine as owner of one of the top premier spas in Delray Beach, earning a 5-star rating in Yelp, ongoing success. She also loves being of service, loves being inspiring to others across the globe. As a motivational speaker, ambassador of Open Hearts for Orphans charity, which provides financial and medical supplies to babies overseas. Please welcome the amazing Mia Oddo. Pleasure to see you.
Oh, pleasure to see you too, Paul. So happy to be here.
We are very excited, and we want to talk about your success and all that you've done. It's obvious that you've created just amazing success. Here's the key question. A lot of people, and you went from corporate to being a self-entrepreneur and a self-employed businesswoman. What led you to that choice?
Really, it stemmed from tragedy. And I originally, before I opened the spa, I worked in medical sales. And at that time, I was married, and my ex-husband got in a very horrific car accident. And that's the one phone call that no parent or spouse wants to hear, that you have to be, come to the hospital. So at that time, he was found to have 5 herniated discs, 5 bulging discs, spinal stenosis, and that he was going to have back surgery. And at that time, I really wanted to find a solution for him. And he was put on 10 oxycodone a day to manage the pain. And he did that for about a year. And sadly, his body got addicted, but thankfully not his mind. And he said, I can't live like this anymore. And about a month away from surgery, he said, there has to be some way to bring my body back in balance. And a lot of doctors and you're into holistic lifestyle products. So can you find something for me? So I happened to be working in a hospital, and I found this woman as I was talking about a product that I was selling, who said, I can help your husband. And this could be the solution and prayer you've been looking for. So I brought him to the hospital, and I was introduced to microcurrent. And it was the microcurrent that really helped to allow his body to reach homeostasis. And in one treatment, took his pain from a 10 to a 2. And I was amazed. So I learned everything I could about microcurrent. And at that time, I then became a trainer and a distributor and an educator for the company. And they said, Mia, why don't you get your license to touch skin? So you can open up your own practice and be able to offer these treatments to other people. So it was really in that moment that I started to decide for myself, why not go back to school, be able to get my license, and be able to open my own spa and holistic wellness center so I could be able to offer these same treatments and give hope to others that there are better ways than just having to resort to pharmaceutical. And that's how the spa was born.
Yeah, really amazing. So many people, when you track success and you track successful people, tragedy is the thing, and adversity is the thing that really propels innovation and motivation to create something different. And I know the same thing happened in my life. And so you don't wish that on anyone, only you know that's what really moves people to really dig deep. And you wish it wasn't that way, only such a great journey. And you really found who you wanted to be and who you are, and found your inner power with all that, which is obvious. What now, you then went on and became a number one leader in another network marketing company, and really empowered yourself through that as well. How did that happen? How did you become the number one? And to be number one of anything is amazing. And it's one of the great lessons for other people, is to watch people that are just reaching that level of success. How do you do that?
Yes, it again stemmed from an unfortunate time. Everybody was going through their own, you know, COVID. When COVID hit, it was very traumatic for a lot of families and business owners because we were forced to shut down.
Yes.
So when the spa closed, I really had to look at my own health and wellness as well. I always suffered with asthma, and I'm actually a Vietnam War baby. And ever since I came over at a very young age, I always had asthma and bronchitis. And I just lived with that for many years. But when COVID came about, I was identified as high risk. So I knew at that point I really needed to take my health seriously, because I didn't want to be subjected to, a hospital if I got COVID. So at that point, I found a solution through air purification, which I no longer have asthma and no longer need to take my nebulizer or Allegra D or Neti Pot or bronchodilators. So that really was a blessing. And I just was a happy consumer. I really was focused on the spa, but at that time when the spa was closed, the company called me and said, Mia, you have a very powerful story about how it helped your asthma. And we just so happened to be in a pandemic where this is an essential product that can help people have peace of mind and breathe better and live better. So at that time, I decided to become a business builder. So again, from tragedy, I had to pivot, and I was able to establish a really successful air and surface purification business. And now I've opened up over 15 schools and restaurants and churches, and it's really been an amazing ripple effect. And then I put it in the spa once the spa reopened, to be able to send a strong message to my customers that we were in a safe space and that I was going above and beyond CDC guidelines to make sure that everybody could breathe easier and come back in, so that they could really take care of themselves. And at that point, people started noticing and thanking me for putting this state-of-the-art air purification. And they said, how can I get this for my home and for my businesses? And that's how it all began.
It's amazing when you position yourself as a leader and you step up, and so many people that we talk about in business, customer service and value added. And when you do that, and you're the first one, you're the leader that steps into that, the magic happens, and it becomes obvious. Put yourself out there, dare to do it different. The theme of the podcast, and every step of the way you've been doing that. You mentioned the word pivot, which was one of the big terms for 2020 and 2021. The term pivot, which really meant we had to dig deep and keep on moving forward, figure out the next path of our journey, instead of the one that was tried and true and absolute, to actually see what were the other spins and turns and different roads we had to go down to get to the same spot that we already had intended, but we needed to get there in a different way. And the people that did that, like yourself, are the ones that now, on the backside of all the tragedy and all the challenges that we've gone through, are the leaders and the highly successful, the ones that came out flourishing out of this time, rather than just opening up their eyes from the mayhem and saying, now what? And congratulations to that, and continue being the force and the leader that you are, showing the way for people, because that's what it's all about. When we can inspire people at that level and show them how it's done. So yeah, you became number one just because you shined and you stepped forward and you dared to do it different before anybody else was doing that. And congratulations on that. That is so cool.
Thank you, Paul. I know my biggest takeaway, especially from how the spa business opened, and then really the air purification business was a blessing because it allowed me to stay open.
Right.
And going to Tony Robbins, he used to always say, things happen for you, not to you. And
Here,
most
here.
people always think, why is this happening to me? But there is a silver lining. You just have to be creative, and it develops inner fortitude when you go through, tragedy like this.
Yeah, no question. We've all had our own story of tragedy and of adversity going through the last couple of years. And it's what's made all of us that have faced it stronger. All of us that have really faced it head on and said, okay, I'm not going to hide from this. I'm going to move towards the fire, not away. What can I do about this? And that you were able to, one, pivot and create that business and thrive in it, and then join the forces of everything that you had been doing with what you now newly were doing, and make that all part of an integrated force, with Mia Spa continuing now to be prosperous and back in business and doing well as then the air purification business, which continues to grow and prosper as well. So congratulations on all fronts. You have this knack, and I've known you for a few years now, and you've had this knack of being able to connect up with people and network with people just really readily, easily. Any advice that you can give? Any secrets of connectivity? How do you do it, or how could other people learn from what you've done? How do you build those connections so easily?
Well, I like to use the form. And form basically stands for family, occupation, recreation, and motivation. And I really try to just develop that rapport from that standpoint. And I ask people about their family, how they're doing, because people love to talk about their family and their kids. So
Yes.
it really establishes a connection with the heart. And then I, go into, well, what are you doing for occupation? And then a lot of times that will lead to, whether or not they are looking for another opportunity or ways to bring
Oh,
additional
yes.
income. And being that I'm in the air, and surface purification, there's opportunities there for me to build a team and a distributorship. So everyone nowadays kind of has a side hustle, I feel.
Oh
I
my
have to
gosh,
create
more than ever.
multiple things now. And so I am in the listening for that as well. And then recreation, what do people like to do for fun? Are they traveling? Are they going to, weddings? What are they actually doing that I can take interest in them? And then lastly, motivation. What motivates them? Are they, trying to pay off their home? Are they trying to pay off the wedding? So that way then I can provide a solution, whether it's, for the beauty or whether it's for health and wellness. And that's really how I established a relationship. It's just by building that rapport and using the form technique.
Yeah, going through the process of getting to know people and asking questions first. And one thing that you brushed over that I think is the major piece in all that is listening. And it's one of the pieces that people hear, and I've heard form before, and it sounds really good. Oh, ask the questions. Only I don't know whether you've ever experienced it where you see people that are using that on you, and they're asking the questions, only they're not hearing the answers. They're not interacting with you with what's really going on. It's like, oh yeah. Wait, I'm on to the O. How's your occupation? Yeah, relationships good. Okay, and they're just going through a checkbox rather than really listening. And one of the things that you do really well is you pause, you listen, and you interact. and from observing you and being by your side and watching you go through that magic. That's so much a part of that formula. It's easy to say the form, only the rest of the story is really the presence of being in the here and now, which is what you exhibit all the time. So great. So great. We've got a lightning round, and I want to give people a little bit of insight as to who you are. So some of the fun stuff we're going to go through. What's your favorite book?
My favorite book, I love The Greatest Salesman in the World by O.G. Mandano.
Of
It is
course.
an amazing book. I love it. The 10 Scrolls, great for anyone in business, any
Yes.
entrepreneur. The lessons in the scrolls are still true today, and it's a really quick read. And I love to read it every day because it really does inspire me and ground me and motivate me to be the best person I can be and how I show up in the world. And then my second book I love is The Go-Giver, which is by Bob Berg and John David Mann. It's an
Yes.
excellent book. It's basically about a gentleman that follows and wants to be the best, a salesperson, and he learns through all these different people how to be successful along the way. And it's just really both are amazing books, great reads. I highly recommend them.
Absolutely. And both, it's interesting how they're focused in on the sales component, and so much of success in business and what we were just talking about, how to connect with people and how to engage with them and really feel them, is all a baseline of what sales should be about. And it's most successful people that I know have really excelled in the sales components, and both those books are foundations for that. Absolutely the tried and true books that I would recommend to everybody that's listening. And we've got listeners all around the world that are listening to this podcast, so pay attention to these books. These are the ones, if they're not in your library already, absolutely go get them. Your favorite movie?
My favorite movie, I really do love Pay It Forward. I think it's
Oh,
a
it's a great movie.
great
Oh
movie.
my gosh, I haven't seen that movie in years.
Yes.
And it's still, and it's amazing when you have certain movies that resonate so deeply that even though it's probably been well over a decade, if not two, since I've actually watched the movie from start to finish. Maybe I'm telling my age, but start to finish that movie. But I still remember some of the scenes, and Kevin Spacey is in it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. It's amazing. Great movie. Great reminder.
it is. And it's
Awesome.
really how it should be, and I always try to every Wednesday, actually, I call it Wealth Wednesday. And I
Yep.
just randomly, whether I'm at a restaurant or grocery store, will pick a random person and I'll pay for their meal or I'll pay for their groceries. And just, I love to be able to pay it forward to unexpectedly random acts of kindness. It goes a long way.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually, that came up in my life recently, and I was hanging out with a friend and they had done that. And I said, "Oh yeah, I do that fairly regularly." And they're like, "Really?" I was like, "Oh yeah, like, in line in Dunkin' Donuts or whatever, and in front of the drive-through, I'll say, "Yeah, I'll pay for the car behind me." And when I'm inspired, and just to make that happen. And it's I got to tell you that as much as it does for the person that's receiving, the amazing pick me up, you want to really get really clear with having a great day. Go do that early in the day. You'll be flying on a cloud for the rest of the day because you just feel so great that you're able to touch someone at that level. Yeah, really neat. Favorite band?
Favorite band? There's so many, but I actually do like Katy Perry. I love to sing, and I have a guilty pleasure. I do love America's Got Talent, American Idol.
Oh my
It's just
gosh,
something
yes.
that I
Oh
just
my
love to
gosh.
sing.
Yes, yeah, all those talent shows, and Katy Perry's amazing. I do the same thing, blast her music and just get me motivated and get me moving. So yes, don't tell anyone though. I need to keep my persona. Yeah.
Right?
We've got people from all around the world listening. Like I said, uh, final words of wisdom for the people that are out there?
I think, really for people that are going through a lot of hardship or adversity or tragedy, especially in these times, to really, it will build inner fortitude, that things do happen for you, not to you, but it's really important to be able to reevaluate and look at another opportunities, or like we said, to pivot, because a lot of times there is a silver lining, but it's hard to be able to see that while you're going through it. And that's why it's so important to have personal development, to have the books, to have a mentor, to have a coach, to have a community that can really support you on your journey, and that is everything. And I'm just so appreciative and honored to be on your podcast today. So thank you so much for everyone for listening.
Mia, absolute pleasure. And in your final words, you opened up a whole nother discussion we could be having. That idea of that support and that community and having mentors and having people by your side and knowing that tomorrow can always be greater. And that whole process, if we haven't learned anything from the last couple of years, that should be the major takeaway. Because, man, if I didn't have my community, if I didn't have the people that I connect with and pull them even tighter during the last couple of years, I'd be in a different space right now. And I know that. And really amazing how valuable that becomes. And great words. Thank you for that. Yeah, really key. Thank you so much. This has been so great. You want to go back and listen to what Mia had to say. Oh, better yet, go read the book. She is in one of our great authors, our lead authors in Success, Be a Success Maverick, How Ordinary People Do It Different to Achieve Extraordinary Results. And you can be getting that. We'll have links here. Also, reach out to Mia, get to know her, find out all the things that she's involved in. You want to be inspired. You want to be motivated. You want to learn how to be a leader. You want to absolutely get involved with other opportunities that she's doing. Go ahead and reach out to her. Her information is right here. All the links, all the ways to connect with her. Information more about what Mia's doing is right here. So go ahead, grab hold of that, reach out to her. This is your opportunity, and go get the book. The link for the book is also here. Be a Success Maverick, How Ordinary People Do It Different. Just amazing stories in there to inspire you to be more. Thank you so much, Mia. It's an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Paul.
This is Paul Finck, the Maverick Millionaire, and this was a great, great episode of the Mavericks Do It Different podcast. Till next time, everyone. Thanks for listening to Paul Finck. That's me, the Maverick Millionaire, and the Maverick Do It Different podcast. You can listen to us anytime, 24/7 on your podcast listening platform of choice. Introduce us to your friends, give us 5-star rating, and subscribe, and share us across all your social media platforms to anyone that could really utilize this message right now. Till next time, everyone.